Hey everyone, hi, this is Rohit Singh and welcome to my channel DevOps Mela and welcome to my new web series on Ansible. So basically in this video tutorial we'll talk about what exactly is Ansible, we'll set up Ansible from scratch, we'll talk about Ansible imperative command, those are ad hoc commands, we'll talk about what exactly is Ansible modules, then we'll talk about how do we write playbooks from scratch, and followed by we'll talk about Ansible Variables, and then we'll talk about Ansible Roles. How do we create custom roles in Ansible? That is what we'll focus on more. And then after, at the very end, I'll show you how do we integrate Ansible with Azure DevOps. So what are the things? How do we create the private and public key? How do we create the service connection? How do we execute Ansible playbook using pipelines? That is something we'll focus on. So basically we'll cover each and everything which will get you started and which will get you running with Ansible. So that's all about this course, guys. This is what we'll do in this entire Ansible course. So let's get started. Let's start with the first session on Ansible. Let's understand what exactly is Ansible. Hello, welcome to my channel DevOps Mela. This is Rohit Singh and welcome to my Ansible web series. So basically I'll be covering everything about Ansible in this video tutorial, guys. So in this particular video, we'll talk about what exactly is Ansible, why do we need Ansible nowadays, and we'll set up Ansible on Azure VM on a Ubuntu OS. Okay, let's get started and let's see what exactly is Ansible. Okay, firstly, why do we need Ansible? Ansible is basically required for provisioning. It can help you with provisioning, it can help you with configuration management, it can also help you with continuous delivery, application deployment, security compliances. So let me give you an example. Nowadays, like you got n number of VMs, and on those n number of VMs you keep on doing patching, you keep on making configuration changes, you keep on making n number of things. Just imagine if you got 50 VMs, logging into each and every VM and running those scripts or running those commands. It is a very tedious job. That is where Ansible comes in picture. Ansible can help you automate this entire process from one single location. Okay, you can run through Ansible ad hoc commands, you can run through Ansible playbooks, and you can execute all these commands whatever you want. You can also do provisioning, even though that is something I'll not suggest because we got dedicated provisioning tools in the market like Terraform, ARM, CloudFormation, which does pretty much a very good job. So it's better stick with those tools if you want to provision. Ansible is basically used as a configuration management tool primarily. Okay, now many of you will say, why can't we do the same thing using some scripting language? Okay, definitely you can do it. I'm not denying if you have that time to write those scripts, because if you know Ansible is playbooks are written in YAML, that's very easy to understand, written in very simple English language. If anyone doesn't know coding, they don't come from any coding background, just by reading through the playbook, they'll come to know exactly what's happening. That easy it is. Wherein on the other side, you should have a coding skill set firstly to understand what exactly is written. And if you want to write the code script, you need to have those skills. Plus, you need to maintain those scripts. Okay, wherein Ansible is agentless. What do I mean by agentless? That is something I'll talk about in a workflow. Okay, so Ansible becomes very simple, powerful, and agentless. Agentless is basically your target machine. There's no service or no process, anything is running, no Ansible plugin running on the end server. The only thing Ansible requires is SSH connection, and if you're able to successfully connect through SSH, you can execute whatever task you want. Okay, that is what Ansible for you. Now, as I said, Ansible is a configuration management, deployment, and orchestration tool. So you can orchestrate a sequence of tasks in a playbook, and based on whatever you have defined in the playbook. Now, what exactly is playbook and all, that is something we'll talk about when we come to the playbook section in the later part. Okay, so basically it will go and execute the sequence of tasks. Like for example, if if you want to know what are the sequence of tasks, like suppose installing Apache or doing Apache web server configuration, restarting Apache server, these are the sequence of tasks which I'm talking about. It is push-based configuration management tool. Push-based because this Ansible has a management node. Consider this as a VM where you have set up Ansible, and these are all your target machines. Okay, so this connects using SSH. Ansible connects using SSH. You have the playbook over here. The playbook has all your sequence tasks like installing Apache, restarting Apache, making configuration changes Apache. You have those tasks defined inside the playbook. And inside the inventory file, there are two important files which you have on your Ansible server, basically, where you have Ansible installed. So this is the only server where you will have Ansible installed. All other servers will be connected using SSH. There's no agent running on any of these end servers. In the inventory file, you will define the host name and the IP address over here. Now, what exactly is inventory and everything we are covering in details in the upcoming session. So I'll leave it over here for now. Okay. So Ansible can automate your entire IT infrastructure by providing you large productivity gains. So it can help you automate your complete IT infrastructure from the management perspective, from the deployment perspective, from managing your VMs, making configuration changes, installing packages. So there are n number of things what Ansible can do, guys. So what we'll do, we will go back to Azure Cloud and we'll set up Ansible from scratch. Now let me go. I'm already signed into Azure Cloud right now. Let me go to my cloud and I can go and create a VM over here. Now, why exactly I'm creating on cloud? Because I have an account on Azure Cloud. That's why I'm creating a VM over here. If you are new to Azure Cloud, you can sign in and you can take advantage of free tier account and you can create this VM. I'll be using a free tier VM over here, guys. So if you fall in the free tier, uh, you will not get charged anything. But if you don't have free tier account, don't worry, the VM which I'll be using, it has very minimal cost. Okay, if you have AWS, you can go and create a VM on AWS. It works the same way. If you have Google account, you can go and create a Google account. If you have Oracle set up on your local system itself, and if you have Ubuntu VM inside it, you can use that even. So I just need a VM wherein we can set up Ansible. That's it. There's no hard and fast rule that you need to have Azure, AWS, or Google. Okay, whichever place you have a VM, and if you can set up Ansible on top of it, that's well and good. Okay, let me go and create a VM. This is a resource group. I'll mix and I'll just name it as Ansible VM. And I'm using Ubuntu Server 2004, guys. Just keep that in mind. And this is the size. This falls under free tier. I'm using 1 vCPU and 1 gig of memory. That is more than enough for Ansible to run. But later when you're using in real time, you may have to have a bigger configuration. This is just for testing, so I'm using a very small configuration over here. Let me create a user ID password. Okay, let me open port 22 and port 80 and let you know why exactly I'm opening port 80 and 22. 22 is for connecting to the VM. Port 80 because I'll be setting Apache web server, and later I'll be using that web server in my I'll be deploying the web server using Ansible Playbook and Ansible Ad-hoc commands. Okay, so let's come back while this VM is getting created. Let's come back and once this VM is created.
Okay guys, if you see my VM is created, let's quickly go and see. So I got this Ansible VM created. We need to go and log in. So I'll use my public IP over here and I'll use git bash. I already have git bash installed on my local. You can also use DOS, CMD, whatever you like. If you want to use putty, you can use putty for login. Git bash is something I like more, so let's go and use this git bash. It's nothing but it's just a bash shell which I'm using, guys. Okay, hope this is visible now. Let's go and use it. This is my user ID followed by the public IP. Perfect. Let me quickly log in. Perfect. So I'm currently logged into my account. Let's switch to sudo. Okay, I'm logged in as a sudo user. So as of now, I don't have Ansible install on top of it. So I'll go and install Ansible. So let me update the local repo first. So let's go and set up Ansible on this VM. So for testing purpose, guys, as we are just learning things, so I'll not have multiple VMs. I'll be using this particular VM itself as my master and a worker node. Okay, so I'll be setting up things using Ansible on this node itself. Later in the course, when I'll do Ansible integration with Azure DevOps, at that time I'll show you how do we set up multiple VMs and how do we configure multiple VMs using one master node. Okay, for now, just to save money, because if I want to set up more VMs, I need to go and launch more VMs. Okay, I'll show you where exactly changes needs to be done if you want to have more VMs added to this master node. Okay, don't worry about that. So let's go and install Ansible. This is the step. I'll share the steps with you guys. You can find the steps in my description. If anything is missing, you can just let me know in the comment box. Okay, please do let me in comment if you want to add some more Ansible topics, anything as such. Please do let me know in the comment box. Okay guys, thank you. Now post this, we'll simply go and install Ansible. Okay, Ansible uses Python in the backend, so there will be Python dependencies also which will get downloaded while you're downloading Ansible. Okay, keep that in mind. Let's wait while Ansible is getting downloaded on this particular VM. Guys, Ansible is installed successfully. Now let's go and see. Let's verify it by running this command, Ansible --version. Perfect. So we got Ansible install 2.12.10 successfully installed. This is the location where my config files are. So let's go and see this location first. Let's go to etc Ansible. These are the file ansible.config. Host, this is where your inventory files will come in. This is the default location. If you want to have a custom location, we can do that also. And this is where your roles. What exactly is Ansible roles? That is something we'll talk about in a greater details. For now, let's go and see this particular config file. Okay, by default, now you cannot see the config. If you want to so this is by default disabled. So what we can do, we can run this command and we can have the config file visible. Let's run this command. Okay, now if you go and see, you will have the Ansible config file over here. See this, you have the config file. I'll come to this config file. There are a number of things which we need to do. So we'll come to this section again. Now next part is, let me introduce you to Ansible Inventory. Okay, we got the Ansible setup done. We know what is Ansible. We have done the Ansible setup. Now let's go and see what exactly is Ansible Inventory. Okay, let's go back to PPT. Ansible Inventory defines the managed nodes to automate. So basically the end server, the host machine on which you want to configure something, that comes inside your inventory file. Okay, on your Ansible master node, the inventory file resides and you will have those end server details added to the inventory file. It can be added as a group, so you can automate tasks on multiple hosts at the same time. Automate as a group means if you have a list of DB servers, okay, and you want to do some sort of changes on the DB servers, so you can have a DB group and you can add all those end servers inside that group. Same way, if you want to have something like a web server, okay, like if you want to have Apache web server and you want to set up Apache on all those servers, so you can add them as a group. You can add them also as an individual also. Okay, if you have some individual server, in my case I just got individual one single server, so we can add it as a group also, we can add it as an individual server also. Okay, this is the place where your by default the inventory file resides. Now it's not necessary that you need to call the inventory file from this location itself, but if you're not defining any location, then it will go and read through this particular location itself. Okay, keep that in mind. These are few parameters. Like if you want to, Ansible can connect using SSH, WinRM, localhost. So you can mention if you want to have some connection mentioned inside the inventory file, even that is possible. If you want to define some port, by default it is port 22. If you want to have some custom ports defined, you can do it. You can also define the user, root, administrator. You can also have Ansible passwords defined. This is not the right way of defining the password, guys. That is not recommended. But yeah, for time being, while we are learning, we can have the password defined. Later, if you want, you can even integrate vault. Okay, key vaults wherein you can have all this added, the passwords and everything added. Okay, makes sense. And Linux we can connect using SSH, while in Windows we can use PowerShell remoting. These are the two methods you can connect to Linux and Windows machine using Ansible. Okay, perfect. Now let's go and do the first inventory setup. Let's go and come to your VM. Now I'll be using the default location for now. Later I'll show you how do we have a custom inventory location. That is something we'll see later. For now, let's stick with the default location. etc Ansible host. This is the file. Now you can get more information ungrouped. Like if you want to have ungrouped end servers, you can do it this way. If you want to group it, this is how you do it. The sample is given over here. There are more samples. This is I'm using a VI editor. If you want to have something called as a host range, like if you have some DB numbers like DB 1, 2, 3, something like this, so you can also define the host range like this. Okay, let's go and do the first inventory setup. So I just have one single machine, so that is my master machine. On that master machine itself, I am doing my Ansible run. So basically I'm setting things on my master machine itself. So I'll stick with localhost for now. Now just imagine if you have other VMs, if you have created one more VM. Okay, so you can put the VM public IP over here, or the host name or the domain name, depending upon what you have. So whatever process I do, it's exactly the same process you need to follow if you have n number of VMs, guys. Nothing different, nothing alien, nothing. The only thing will change is this localhost will change with public IP or the domain name, whatever you have. Okay, now over here I can define the Ansible user. So the user is nothing but my user through which I have created this account. So what is the username we got? We got Ansible user DevOps mailer, correct? We have created this VM using DevOps mailer. I can also have the password defined over here, but I'll not do the password part right now over here. That is something we'll do later. For now, I'll just define it like this. So I have my local host and I have my Ansible user defined over here. Now let's go and do a quick check. So I'll run some ad hoc command to see if I'm able to connect to my local host or not. How do we do the quick check? I can run a Ansible ad hoc commands. So there are two ways, guys, you can implement Ansible. One is through ad hoc command, that is imperative way. The second is declarative, wherein you write a playbook in a YAML. So first we'll focus on ad hoc commands. We'll see what are the different set of ad hoc commands. Okay, and we'll see the importance of ad hoc command. Why do we run ad hoc commands and things like that. For now, I have defined something in my inventory file and I'm testing if everything is looking good. How do we do it? I can run this command, a simple command, Ansible, spelling mistake, Ansible followed by hyphen I is not required, followed by all. So I have only one single end server added in my inventory, so that's why I'm defining as all. All is basically it will run all the whatever commands you're executing, it will get executed on all the end servers, whatever is there inside your inventory file. As if now I'm just doing all. If you have any group or anything as such, you can call that group also over here. Okay, for now I'll stick with all. Okay, all, and -m stands for module. So there are n number of modules in Ansible. We'll talk about that later. For now, I'm just running a ping module. Let's make it yes. Okay, I'm getting some error. Error is failed to connect to host via SSH permanent added localhost, list of known host, unreachable, permission denied. This is because we are not mentioning the password, guys. Okay, I'm not doing SSH. I'm not using the public private key thing right now over here, and I have mentioned my username inside my inventory file, but I have not defined the password. Okay, so for that, what I can do, I can pass in the password over here itself by a flag called -k. So it will prompt me when I run the command now, it will prompt me for the password. Okay, let's go and put in the password. Perfect. Now do you see I'm getting a ping pong? That means we are ready to go. I can make whatever sort of configuration I want to do. Like if I want to set up Apache, Nginx, whatever I want to do, I can go ahead and do it. Okay. So that's it from Ansible setup, guys. In the next part, we'll see what is Ansible ad-hoc commands, what are the different modules we have. Okay. So stay tuned, and if there's anything for me, please do let me know. Put in your thoughts in your comment. If you want me to add something, delete something, please put in your thoughts in the comment. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel DevOps Mela. So this is what we did in the last video. We have set up Ansible, we have set up inventory, and this is the testing what we did by ponging to the target machine. Everything looks good. Now taking this forward, we'll understand what is Ansible ad hoc and what are the different modules we can use in Ansible. Okay. Now let's understand there are two ways, as I said earlier, you can manage and work with Ansible. One is imperative way, that is what we'll focus on in today's video. And the second one is the declarative way, that is something we'll talk about in the later video. Imperative way is like running ad hoc commands, guys, on request. So if you want to execute something without writing a playbook or anything as such, you can write this imperative commands. Okay, like for example, one of the example is this. We ran the ping command. So imperative uses two things. One is module. So there are, what exactly is module, we'll understand that now. One is module, that is something we define it as -m. The other is argument, the one what exactly you want to do. For example, I'll show you one of the module. I can have something like Ansible all -m. I can use shell module. So basically shell module will provide a shell to you and you can execute whatever commands you want. So with shell module, I want to pass in an argument that I want to know the free memory on my target machine. Okay, so what is my target machine? In my inventory file, we have already defined the target machine as my local host. Okay, later you want to add some other machines to it, you can simply replace the local host with a public IP or a domain name. Okay, -k because I need to pass in the password. Now let's put in the password. So see, I'm getting the output. This is what shell module, and this is the argument which I'm passing, single inverted comma. Then this is what I'm passing, that this command needs to be executed. So that's why this is in single inverted comma. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Now I'm fed up, like guys, of passing this password again and again. So what I can do, I can go to my inventory file again and I can make some changes over there. etc Ansible host, and what I'll do, I have something defined as Ansible SSH pass, and then put in the password over here. So this is, again, I'm telling guys, this is not the right way of doing things. This is not the right way of doing things. Give me one quick minute. I'm getting some extra characters over here. Okay. So what is the right way? You can have some key vault integration done. As if now I cannot talk about key vault over here because it's a very initial session of Ansible. But yeah, maybe in future, just put in your comments that if you want to have something related to key vault. Okay. Because this is, we are covering very basic of Ansible. Covering key vault will be out of scope. Okay, now let's go and run this command again. We'll remove this -k and see if it works. Perfect. This is what I wanted. Now let's go and see what these modules are before we jump on and see all different set of modules. Okay, Ansible modules are standalone scripts basically that can be used inside Ansible Playbook. So when you write the playbook, these are the modules which you will be calling inside the playbook also, guys. Okay, and in ad-hoc commands. Okay, so there are modules, system related modules, like if you want to have something related cron, if you want something related firewall D, host name, those modules are there. There are command modules like remove, standard input, creates. There are file modules. We'll see this file module also, copy, file, replace. We got database module, we got cloud module, we got Windows module, and there are many. So these are the modules, these are standalone scripts which is already created by Ansible. These modules, using this module, you can easily manage the configuration, and there are many things you can do with this module. I've just given few examples of these modules. If you go to the official website of Ansible, this is the complete list of modules, guys. There are so many things you can do with Ansible. Like for example, if you go to cloud module, you can connect to the cloud services like AWS, Amazon, and many things. Okay, Azure, you can even connect to Azure. If you come down, you will find Azure over here at the bottom. These are all EC2 related things. Where is the scroller? See, you got Azure over here. So there are so many Heroku, Huawei. So there are so many cloud modules also you can connect with. Okay, keep that in mind. Now these are few example I'm giving to you. This is not, it's not possible for me to cover all these modules, guys. Depending upon your requirement, you can come and look into this documentation. So this is file module. We can even see what this copy module is. How do we create files and things like that? That is something we can go and see now. We have seen the cell module. Now let me show you something related with file module. Okay. Now imperative command, as I was talking about, what is the importance of using imperative command? This is basically used by administrators if they want to do something very quickly without writing a playbook. They can go and do it immediately by running some imperative commands. This is not good for production, guys. Definitely if you want to do something in production, you should write playbook. You should have configuration written. But yeah, if you want to do some sort of monitoring task like checking memory, checking CPU, creating some files and all small tasks if you want to do without writing playbook, so definitely you can make use of this ad hoc imperative commands. Okay, the disadvantage of this imperative commands, like if you run this command, if you log out of this terminal, no one will come to know what command was executed. Okay, so that is the biggest disadvantage. So this is only used for small purpose, like small things if you want to do, not for production. Definitely nothing to do with production related activities. Okay, now let me show you one more module. Okay, I'm fed up of writing this Ansible again and again. So what I'll do, I'll set up a alias and I name it as A. Okay, so I'll just set up A. Now let me see if this A works. Perfect. Now in place of Ansible, I'll just write A now. Okay, let's go and run few more Ansible commands, Ansible ad hoc command. So let's put an A all. Let's use the module shell again, and in this let's do one thing. Let's create a file. let's name that file as, let's create this in the home directory and name it as index.html. Okay, perfect, it's created. How do we verify? I can make use of shell module itself, and I can quickly run ls command, ls and home.devops mailer. Okay, let's see this. Perfect, index.html. So this is what shell module does for you. Okay, now I can do ls-l as well for long listing, and I can get, this is read write access which has been given. If you want to modify this access, okay, if you want to have some modification done with the access, then we can also use file module for that. I can have specific module such as file. Let's go and change this module to file. I'll have the argument, but this time I'll not have such in a single quote. I'll have an argument as double quotes because we need to define the path as a destination. So the path is home DevOps mailer index.html, and let's modify the permission to 600. Okay, read write only for the user, to the owner, rest all 00. Failed to connect the host via SSH, host unreachable. That's weird. Now let me try it again. Done. Okay, this time if you see, we have changed it 600 index.html file. Now let me go and do ls-ll. This is how it looks like. Now if you want to change this user and the group, the person who has created the file and the person and the group, sorry, it's owner and the group, if you want to change it, then even that can be changed using file module. Okay, if you want to change the owner and the group, you can even change that using file module. So let's go and see this. Now with mod, if you want to add something more, like owner, you want to change owner, I want to change it to root, and I want to change what else I want to change? I want to change the group. Let's change the group to root itself. Okay, what we are doing, we are changing the index.html file, modifying the permission and changing the ownership and the group permission group. Okay, let's see this if we are getting any error. Perfect, I'm getting some sort of error. Chown, that's change permission ownership operation not permitted. Why? Because you need to give sudo privileges, correct guys? Can we change without a sudo privileges? Can we directly run and change the ownership and the group of any particular file? The answer is no. So what we need to do, we need to go ahead and give sudo privileges. So how do we give temporary sudo privileges? By just adding one flag -b. So become as sudo, so that is we are giving escalated privileges with this -b. Now run this. Perfect. You see it got changed. Same way, if you want to have some directory created, a new directory created, you can use the file module itself, and if you want to delete the directory, you can even use the file module to create and delete. The only additional thing you need to add, let me just show you, and let me remove all this mod and all. The only thing I'll keep is the home DevOps mailer, and let me create a directory called test. Okay, the only thing I need to add is state equals to directory. This is, I need to define the state that it's a directory. Now let's go and see if the directory is getting created. Perfect. If you see, there's a test directory got created. Okay, if you want to delete this, again file module, the only thing is change the state to absent. Now this is all you don't need to remember, guys. All these flags and states you don't need to remember. Now what I'm exactly, if you see this is deleted. Now if you come back to this documentation, which module we are in, let's go back and open the file module. See this file module. Come back in the file module. What all things we have used? Owner. See this owner we have used. We have defined the path and state. Absent, directory, file, hard link, touch, all this can be easily done. See the touch can also, I have created a file using touch using shell module. Now the same thing you can do it with file module also. So it's not necessary that you cannot use the shell module, or you can also, there's one more module called command module. So these are very frequently used modules which you can go and use it. Okay. Now very important module, package module. Let me show you some package module, then we'll move on. Before that, let me exit out of this and let's go and verify the host. Now where exactly I am? Home DevOps Mela. Okay, and this is where I have the index.html file, and this is where the directory was created which we later deleted. Now let me edit this index.html file and add something to it. I'm adding a very simple HTML tags to it. Welcome to DevOps Mela Ansible course. Okay, why exactly I'm adding, you'll understand this in a bit. Okay, perfect. This is perfect. Perfect. Okay, now let me open this file and verify once. Welcome to DevOps Mela Ansible course. Perfect. Okay, let's go back to sudo. Now why exactly I've added this, that is something we'll understand later. But for now, let me introduce one more module called package module. Like for example, you want to install Apache on your end server. How do you install Apache? Now on Ubuntu, how do we install, if you want to install Apache, what all things you need to do? You need to go and run the command apt install. This is the command you need to run, correct? Install Apache 2, something like this you need to do. How do you do the same thing with Ansible? Okay, with Ansible I can run a simple command Ansible all, and don't forget to give root privilege, escalated privilege, because without it you cannot install any package on any machine. So that needs to be given. -m, I will be using apt module in this. Why apt module? Because this is my Ubuntu machine. What if it is my CentOS or something else? Then you need to use yum. Okay, that is, both are supported by Ansible. And then I'll pass in the name of the package. What is the name of the package? Apache 2. And there's a state. We need to pass in the state. The state is present. So present will make sure that the module is present on your end server. Now what is this? Let me see if I'm not doing any typo. Perfect, looks good. A command not found. Did I exit? Okay, I did exit out. Let me write Ansible completely. Now let's wait. And if you want to know more, like while we are waiting, what's happening, then you can use a flag -v for verbose, which will give you a detail in description what's happening. If you want more details for debugging purpose, then you can use -vvv. Okay. Now this is done. Now this particular Apache is successfully installed. How do we verify? I can run shell command, or I can run any sort of commands, and I can see if Apache is successfully installed or not. But because it is on my local host, I can even simply run this systemctl status Apache 2 to see if it is installed. See, it's installed, but this is because I'm doing everything on a local host, guys. That's why I can run this command. If you have any remote host, okay, in that case you can use shell command or shell module, or you can use command module for doing the exact same thing. Okay, so let's verify if Apache is installed, working, HTTP. Perfect. I can see Apache coming up. Now remember we got some index file created. Can we put in the index file in the right place so that my index file will be visible? Whatever we have it in the index file, can we do that? How do we copy the configuration? So basically I'm showing you using ad-hoc command how do we copy the configuration. Okay, so let's run the command ansible all again -m. Let's use a copy module -a, and then let's pass on the values. So where exactly the index file is, the index file is kept somewhere in home, not this way, let it be home DevOps Mela. That's why I've updated the index file, guys. Index.html. Now what is the destination? Destination is the file should be residing in where www.html. This is the place where the file should reside. Okay, so what I'm doing exactly, I'm changing the default index.html page of Apache with my own page. So basically I'm showing you, demonstrating how do we configure using Ansible. Let's wait. Not writable, so we need to give escalated privilege. Perfect. Now let's verify if things are looking good. How do we verify? Refresh this. Perfect. Welcome to DevOps Mela Ansible course. Now this is what exactly we did using Ansible, guys. We ran through Ansible command. We have installed Apache on the local host. We have copied the configuration on the local host. Now don't get confused that this is happening on the local host. The same thing, exact same thing, you can do it on other machines. Just go and change the inventory to with the right IP and the username and the password. That's it. And you run the exact same command, nothing else. This is, I'm using one single machine just for testing, because even you guys will practice unnecessary launching multiple VMs. I don't want you guys to do that. So that's why I'm just using one single machine. Okay, that's it from ad-hoc command, guys. Please do let me know your thoughts in the comment, and do let me know if you want to cover any other topic. In the next part, I'll cover playbooks. That is quite advanced. So this is the same thing, exact same thing what we're doing. And that is something I'll try using playbook. Okay. That's it for me. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Hello all, welcome back and welcome to my Ansible web series. So in my previous video, we spoke about what exactly is ad hoc command. We saw how exactly we can work with ad hoc commands. That is something we have already seen it. Going forward, let's see. This was imperative way of working with Ansible. Now let's go back and see how do we work with declarative approach. Declarative is basically writing configuration, declaring whatever task you want to perform, declaring it into a YAML file. So Ansible supports YAML based configuration. That is how you will be declaring everything. This is how Ansible will help you orchestrate all your tasks. Okay, using a playbook. Now what exactly is a playbook? Playbook is nothing but it's a list of tasks that automatically execute against host. So we were executing the task now, like if you go back and see my previous video, we were executing the task using ad hoc commands. Okay, now the only difference is that ad hoc command is one time. If you're doing something very repetitive, you very frequently, then ad hoc command will not make any sense. So it's better to use playbook. Okay, so what is playbook? A playbook is nothing but it's a single YAML file. A play, it has n number of plays. So the plays are nothing but set of activities, whatever you want to do, known as task to run on the host. What are the tasks? An action to be performed on the host. Whatever action you want to perform, like executing a command, running a script, installing a package, shut down, restart. These are few actions which you want to perform. That is what a playbook does. This is a classic format of playbook, guys. This is how a playbook is written. I'll be writing this playbook from scratch now. I'll show you how exactly, in a very easy manner, how a playbook is written. Secondly, this is how, once you have a playbook ready, this is how you will be executing a play. Perfect. Now let's go and let's write the playbook and let's see how exactly it is written. And for this time, I thought of having one more VM, guys. So I have created one more VM. I've named this VM as Ansible host. So whatever demo we were doing till now that I was doing on a local host, I thought of adding one more VM to give you a complete idea how exactly in real time things works. Now if you see this, I got this host machine. I have the public IP. I have not configured the DNS, but if I want, I can do that even. But for now, it's not required. Now if you see, I got two VMs. I have one master on which my Ansible is installed, and I got my host machine. So let me just log into the host machine for now. Okay, if you want to log in, this is not even required. It's okay. Let's go and update the host file and add this. Okay, so we are using localhost. Now this time let me go and use a web server, or I can create my own group, or I can just use this one. Even that is fine. Okay, let me just put in the information such as this. Let me copy and paste the IP again. I'm getting some extra character. Okay, now Ansible user, let me define the user. That is DevOps mailer. Ansible password. Again, this is not the right way to insert password, guys. The better way is to integrate vault. Okay, for now, let me do this. Web servers. Okay, now let me quickly go and check if things are working. So Ansible, I'll do a ping and Ansible web servers module ping. Okay, so I'm getting some error. The error is using SSH password instead of a key not possible because host key checking is enabled and does not support SSH pass. Please add the fingerprint in the known host. So one thing I can do SSH to this machine, then this error will be gone one way. So I'll just show you that. SSH to DevOps mailer, and what is the public IP of this host machine? This is one way. So what will happen, the known host, the fingerprint will be added to the server end server known host, and you'll be able to do SSH after this. See this, the fingerprint is getting added right now. This is one way of doing if you're using passwords, guys. If you're using private public key, then this is not even required. Okay, this is done. Now this is one way. Let me do a ping again. Perfect, this looks good. But if you want to disable this host key checking, even that is not recommended again, but for now if you want to disable it, you can go and into Ansible configuration, okay, and look for host key check. Wait a minute. Okay, where I am logged in right now. Yeah, this is good. Let's go back to this drive again, etc Ansible. Let's look into this configuration. What exactly is this? Data and not. Okay, let me have the example config file first. Now I can go and look for host key. Now if you see, the host key checking is set to true and it is disabled right now. What I can do, I can enable this and I can set this to false. So I'll not get this error again. Okay. So this is, the setup is done. I'm able to run my ping. I'm able to connect to the end server. Everything is looking good. Perfect. Now let's go and write a playbook. For writing a playbook, what I'll do, I'll have some folder created. I'll name this folder as playbook, and I'll use Visual Studio Code. Not necessarily you need to use Visual Studio Code, guys. Whichever IDE tool you like, you can go for it. There is no hard and fast rule that you need to stick with Visual Studio Code or anything as such. Whichever you like, you can go for it. Why exactly I'm using Visual Studio Code? That is something I can tell you. Let me open this folder first, the one which we have created. This is the folder. Let's open this. Okay. Perfect. Now, why exactly I use because of this plugin, this extension which I'm using for Ansible. Where it is. So basically I'm using an Ansible plugin for IntelliSense, syntax highlighting, and many things I do with that plugin. That is what I'm using. Let me look for it. See this is the one which is installed. This is basically from Red Hat. So Ansible VS Code extension for Red Hat. So this extension adds language support for Ansible. Okay, so it does the syntax highlighting. It will help you for indentations and many things. So this is the Ansible plugin which I am using. This is again optional. If you want to use this, you are free to use it. If don't, okay, not required then. In that case, come back. Let me write a first playbook. What exactly I'll be doing with this playbook? I can give any name. There's no hard and fast rule that you have to stick with some specific naming convention over here. I can give apache.yaml. The only thing is, make sure that your file is ending with .yml or .yaml. Okay, both are accepted. YAML is a very simple language, guys. If you want to know about basic syntaxing in YAML, then please do let me know in the comment box. I'll definitely make a video on YAML from scratch. Okay, now starting with YAML, this is how the YAML starts with a 3-. Again, this line is completely optional. This is if you want to have multiple YAML scripts inside the same file, then you can use this 3-, or this is completely optional. Okay, now starting with, how do we start with playbook? Firstly, start with a name. Give a name to your playbook. So what exactly are we supposed to do? So I'll do Apache installation. Remember in the last session we had some Apache installation done. So there's the same thing. I'll do it over here. Apache installation. Basically we'll do Apache installation. We'll update the package. We'll copy the config file. So there are multiple things we will be doing. Okay, so let's do that. So Apache installation. Okay, this is the name of my play basically. Now on where exactly do you want to run? So that host needs to be defined. So this is, I want to run it on web server. Now if you go and look into my local host, guys, I got if you look into my Ansible server, I got local host as well as a group defined now. So we got multiple things right now. So in such cases, if you do all, so what will happen? This task will get executed on this machine as well as this machine. This is something I don't want. So what I'll do, I'll define this is only for web servers basically. So I'm giving the name of my group over here. Okay, now we need privilege. Now if you want to download any package, restart any package, copy config, so you will need sudo escalated privilege basically. So in command line, if you use, let me show you the command line also over here. What is the command we ran? Ansible this is all -m mod. Before -m I was using -b as a become as a root user, correct? Become as a super user, -m, then we were using this module apt. Okay, so this is what, this is your host definition. This is your defining your host on which you want to run. This is your telling that I want escalated privileges, and this is the module which you're defining. Okay, now that is what I'm doing right now over here. So I just have become one space and make it as true. Okay, this is, you have defined your play related things. Now this play will have n number of tasks, like what all things you want to do. Make sure you are in line with this where you started this name and host. So your task will come basically in the same line. So these are tasks. Now there are list of tasks which you can define. So the first task is, before you go and execute anything, like if you want to install Apache package on a Ubuntu machine, that's a Ubuntu machine which we have launched. What you need to do, you need to do a apt update, correct? You need to update the local packages. So what will be the command if I want to do a apt update? Similar to this command, then you will have apt update, something like this you will run, okay, with an argument. You can use shell also. If you want to use shell module, you can even use shell module. So this is the first task basically. Now this is how you will be defining. Now you can give a name to this task. So naming is always important, because when your task is getting executed, the naming will get displayed on the screen. So this naming is very important, guys. So you should always provide a good naming convention. So I'm doing update OS. This is what I'm writing. Now how do we define this task? Like the command task, basically I'm not using shell. There's a proper task for it, module for it. So I'll be using this module. So the module can be easily defined as this way. I'll just give the module name followed by the argument. What is the argument? apt update. That's it. This is how from the ad-hoc command I am creating a playbook, guys. This is that easy it is. Okay. So playbook writing is not that difficult. Now let's go back to the second task. What is the second task? I want to install Apache. What was the command we have executed for installing Apache? Let me write that for you. -b -m apt -a and the double quotes, name of the package. What is the name? Apache 2, typo, Apache 2, and then there is a state called present. So there are two things. Now let's go and define the same thing in a playbook. Give a name, again a naming convention, installing Apache, okay, 2 basically. Now over here, what is the module name? apt. Now apt module has 2 argument defined. One is name of the package. The name of the package is Apache 2. Second, the state, correct? State is what? State is present. Let's have this present added over here. Perfect. This is how I got one more task added. I got apt update task and I got Apache installation task. Similarly, I can have one more task like making sure that the Apache service is started. So for doing that, I will need service module. Okay, Apache service start. Okay, service. Okay, now in this I will need a service module. So let me call the service module over here. Okay, in the service module it will again request 2 information, the name of the service. So the name of the service is Apache 2 basically, and the state. So state is started. So started is basically is the analogy used in Ansible, not just start, but it started, making sure if the service is not running, it will go and start the service for you. And if it's already started, nothing will happen. That is the analogy we use: started, restarted, stopped. Such analogies we use in Ansible. Last but not the least, I need to copy the configuration files as well. So I'll be using the copy module. Copy config files. See how easily I'm creating this playbook. So if you know ad hoc commands, if you know how exactly these commands are executed, I'm just using the module name, the name and the state. I'm not making it difficult for you guys. It's a very simple Ansible playbook which I'm writing. Later I'll show you how do we add variables. Okay, because if you want to reuse, reshare this particular playbooks with others, you should know how to work with variables. Okay, That is something we'll see. Now copy command, what do I want to copy? I want to copy a index.html file. So where exactly the index.html file is, I have not created that file yet. In the previous session that VM is deleted now, guys. So I'll have it that index.html. So wherever I keep this playbook, I'll create this index.html file over there. And then where exactly do I want to copy this? I want to copy this at where www.html/index.html. This is the location. Okay. Now this is my playbook is ready. I have showed you how from the ad-hoc command you can create a playbook. Very simple, very easy to use. Let me copy this. I can use WinSCP to copy this directly onto my server, or just copy paste onto my end server. Okay. Let me, where I am exactly right now, I'm into root. Let me have something written as apache.yaml, and let's copy paste this playbook. Perfect. Now the first thing is we need to go and create an index file to my current directory. So let me have this index.html created quickly. Let's have syntax HTML. Welcome to DevOps Mela. Okay guys, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe, and please do let me know if there's anything missing, if you want me to cover any new topic, anything, any feedback will be accepted. You can put it in the comment box, or you can write to me on devopsmela@gmail, or you can visit my website devopsmela.in. All the possibilities are available. You can reach out to me whichever way you like. Okay, now let's go and execute this playbook. Okay, let's go and run the playbook and see if it's working. Okay, we got the apache.yaml file over here. How do we run the playbook? Very simple. Ansible followed by playbook and the playbook name apache.yaml. Let's go and execute the playbook. So the play is running. Let's see if connecting to this particular server, that's my web server. Updating OS is my first task. Basically it will go and update the package. It will basically run the command apt update. Let's wait. That was successful. Now going and installing Apache. So this is why I've given the naming convention, guys. The plain name is Apache installation, task gathering facts. If you want to disable this, you can do that. That is something I'll talk about later. Update OS, this is the naming convention, installing Apache. So that's why I've given the naming conventions, so you know what's happening. Okay, again, if you want to know more details, like while we are waiting for this, what's happening in the backend, you can use the flag -v while running this Ansible playbook for verbose logs. Wait, and this is I'm not running on my local host, guys. Till now the ad hoc command which we were executing, that was I was executing on my local host to just save some time and unnecessarily not spinning up a new VM. But this time for executing a playbook, I have created altogether a new host machine, and I'm executing this on a different machine right now. Okay, using Ansible, just to give you a glimpse how in a real world how things happens. So this is basically we are covering the real world scenario, guys. Okay, let's wait while the installation is taking place. Done, successful, service started, perfect. So there are total recap, you can see a recap over here. 5 OK, change 3, unreachable 0, failed 0, skipped 0. So this is done successfully. Now how do we verify? Quickly verify. This is the host machine. Go and open this on a browser because we got Apache installed on top of it. Welcome to DevOps Mela. Perfect. Okay, this is how. Now using a playbook, there are n number of tasks which we have executed, and now this is how it looks like. Okay, so that's it from playbook. In the next video we'll talk about variables. How do we define variables? If you want to reuse this task, then how do we define variables? That is something we'll talk about in the next video, upcoming video. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Hello all, welcome to my channel DevOps Mela, and again welcome to the Ansible web series. Today we'll talk about Ansible variables. How do we define variables inside the playbook? Now in the previous session we saw how do we create a playbook. This is something we have done in the previous video, in which we have created a simple playbook wherein we have installed Apache onto the end server, and then we made some configuration change, copied some configuration, restarted Apache, updated the package. This is something we did. Now why do we need variable? Now this was the file. Let me open that file first. Why do we need variables? Variables in playbooks are very similar to using variables in any other programming language, guys. It helps you to assign value that can be used inside the playbook any given point of time. Plus, variables can make your playbooks reusable. You can run this playbook on n number of systems. Like you can define variables like this is the value which is hard coded over here, host. This is the value Apache, sorry. This is the value, the package name Apache 2 is hard coded over here. The source and the destination is hard coded over here. The service name is hard coded over here. So these all values are hard coded. You can replace this value easily. Just imagine if you have a bigger playbook wherein you have 100 line of 200 line of code written. It's very difficult to go and edit each and every line if you want to reuse your playbook. So it's always better to use variable, define variable in one section and call those variable values inside your playbook. That is how you can work with variables. Now let me show you a small glimpse. How do we define variables? Let me go back at the top, edit this file and have something called variables. So let me show you a demo. So I'll just use this name. So what I see more things getting repeated over here is the name of your service. Your Apache 2, this is getting repeated at multiple location. Apache 2. So I just define Apache 2 over here. Now I'll go and replace wherever Apache 2 is written. I'll just go and replace that. How do we call variable? That is, I'll show you. So this is how it is called in Ansible. Under double quotes, double braces, space, call the name of the variable, space. This is how this is called a variable inside Ansible. Now if you guys are aware of Jinja 2 templating, this is Jinja 2 templating format, guys. So basically this is used in Python web framework. Like if you have worked with Django and all, we use such formatting over there. So the same concept is there in Ansible as well. So this is a Jinja 2 templating format which we're using. Same goes over here also. If I want to this is how you will be defining variable. Now this is I've just did for this Apache. I'm just giving an example to you. Same thing, wherever you see repetition, wherever you see some values are getting hard coded, like if you see this values, this destination is also hard coded, and so wherever you see such hard coded values, and if you think we can replace it with variable, the value may change in future. If you share this particular playbook with some other developer, they may change some values. So it's always a good practice to use variables. Okay, now let's go and run this playbook. Now the variable is defined. Let me just make a minor change in my index.html file so that we know there's a configuration change done. Let's name it as learning variables, something like this. Okay, I did a minor change. Now let me go and run this again. Okay, Ansible -playbook the name of the play. Done. It's running again without any issue. So this is how you will be defining variables, guys. Variable is always a good practice whenever you're doing anything. You're writing any configuration, that is what, do not repeat yourself. So if you're hard coding values, it will be very difficult for you to share this playbook with anyone else. Or if you want to use the same playbook in future, you cannot use it because you need to go inside the playbook, edit the file, and while editing you may end up making n number of mistakes. Okay, so it's better to use variable option in Ansible. Okay, let me verify if things are looking good. The changes which we did, is it done? Because if you if you see, there was two change in the configuration, there was a change, and update OS there was a change. So wherever you see this yellow, this part was changed. Wherever you see this OK file, nothing was changed over there. Welcome to DevOps Mela learning variable. This looks perfect. Okay, so that's it from variable part, guys. This was all about variables. Now in the next session we got something with Ansible roles. Very important and very interesting topic. So let's come back and let's see what is Ansible role. Thank you very much. Please do share, like and subscribe. Bye bye. Hello all, welcome to my channel DevOps Mela. This is Rohit Singh. Okay, in my previous video we saw what exactly is Ansible variables and how do we define Ansible variables. Today we'll focus on what is Ansible roles. Okay, before I talk about what is roles, when we pretty much start with Ansible, the first thing what we do, we start writing playbooks to automate repeating tasks. Okay, as a newbie to Ansible, we like writing playbooks, and as a skill gets matured, we reach to a point where we find Ansible playbook has some limitation. Okay, at that point of time, Ansible roles comes to your rescue. So basically, what exactly is roles? Roles enables you to reuse and share your Ansible code more efficiently. Okay, so they will the roles provides a well-defined framework and structure for setting your tasks separately, for setting variables separately. There are different set of handlers which you can define in roles. There are metadata information which you can define in roles. There are different templates, Jinja to templates and other files you can use it in roles. Okay, now let's go and see what is roles. Now basically Ansible, this is how Ansible roles looks like, Sky. Roles enable you to reuse and share Ansible code efficiently. This is something I just spoke about. The primary mechanism for role is for breaking the playbook into multiple files. So if you have a complex playbook, so whenever you write a playbook, and if you're doing everything using a playbook, so your playbook becomes very complex. Managing playbook becomes a very difficult and a very tedious task. So that is where roles comes in picture. So it will simplify writing your complex playbook and make it easier to reuse. Okay, this is what role will do it for you. So like it's a we have created a role of MongoDB in this picture what you see, and we got defaults, files, handlers, metadata, task, template, test. What exactly these are, we'll understand that in a bit, guys, but this is how role is all about. So it will give you a framework, it will give you a structure, it will help you writing a complex playbook in a very easy manner, and those playbooks, those roles can be easily used by someone else, so you can reuse those roles very easily. Okay, now this is how it looks like. Ansible, if you want to run role, like if you want to create your own custom role, this is how you'll be using a tool called Ansible Galaxy. For creating your own role, you'll be using a tool called Ansible Galaxy with init and the role name, and this is how you will be creating this structure. We'll go and create that structure in a bit, but these are some benefits of using roles. It will help you organize your playbooks, it can help you reshare, it can also help you with reusing. These are few benefits of Ansible roles. Now let's go and see Ansible roles in reality, and let's see how do we create Ansible role using Ansible Galaxy. Before that, let me talk about what are these defaults. So these are the default section. In this particular folder, you can define the default values of your variable. Okay, in case there's one more section wherein you can define the variables. In case if you're not defining the variables in this section, you can define it in the default section. Okay, files, it will contain, if there's any static or custom files in your role, that it will contain those information. The task, this is basically the task which we are executing. If you go back to the playbook, the previous playbook which we have written, all this task will come inside this particular folder now, the task folder. Followed by handlers. Handlers is it's like You can define set of handlers that can triggered by task by the role. So what exactly that means, like suppose you're making some configuration changes to your web server, and you have defined in the handler that whenever there is a configuration change, then it should go and restart my Apache web server. Only in, so such conditions can be defined, such triggers can be defined inside the handler. Metadata is like if you want to have some metadata information, if you need to have some Jinja 2 templates, and this is for testing. Okay, this is what the structure of roles look like in reality, guys. So let me go and create a role and let me show you how exactly it looks like in reality. So we'll use the same example of setting up Apache. So on my end server, I don't have Apache installed now. So this is something we did it on my end server. Now on my current server, like if you see on my local host, I don't have Apache installed. So we'll use this system itself. Okay, there's no Apache. So what we'll do, we'll go and set up role. We'll create a role basically. So the command is Ansible. So Galaxy, this is not an additional tool. When you set up Ansible, you get Ansible, Ansible Playbook and Ansible Galaxy. This is the third tool in Ansible which we are using right now. So it comes by default. You don't need any additional installation or anything as such. Okay, we'll do init and I'll basically name it as Apache role. So this is Apache web server which I'm setting up right now. So I'll stick with, I'll give a naming convention as Apache role. Now if you go and see, my role is created on my current drive, current location. I got this role created. Let me show you the structure of this role. For doing that, let me install tree. So this will give you a tree like structure. You'll know what exactly happening. Okay. Okay, now let's go inside this folder Apache. Let's run this tree command. Now this is, you got your default files. This is where your default values will be defined. This is where all your tasks will be defined. This is where your variables will be defined. This is where your handlers will be defined. Okay, now let's go and start defining each and every role. Okay, default, I'm just skipping default for now because I'll put the values in my variable section. So this variable section gets the highest precedent when you're running and executing your role. So it will go and look into the variable folder and it will look if there is any variable defined. If there's nothing defined, it will then go and look into the default section. Okay, or if you're defining the variable inside the file, even that gets precedence. Okay, so let's go and define the task. The first thing, let's go and define the main.yaml. Go into the task folder and over here let me open the main.yaml file. Okay, now let me go and have all the tasks listed over here. It's very simple, guys. I'll just go and use this task, nothing alien I'm doing. I'll just copy this entire task which we have written in the playbook. Now I'm segregating things. Let's put it over here. That's it, we are done. The task is defined. Okay, now what else I need to do? Come back, let's go and run the tree again. The task is defined. Now do you want to define the variables? Okay, we didn't define the variables. Okay, let's go and go back to the task. We need to let's use Jinja 2 templating. This variables I'll define in the variable section now, not on the top. There's no space to define the variable, guys. Okay, done, perfect. Okay, what else? Let's go to the variable section now and let's define the variables over there. Main.yaml file. Now I can define the variables over here. Yeah, I have only one variable, so let's stick with this. Apache 2. Okay, in the variable section I have defined the variables. Okay, perfect. Now let's come back out. And what else we can define? Now handlers, okay, this handlers I have not defined. Now let's go and define this handlers. How do we define the handlers? Let me let me just make changes to my handlers file. Let's go to handlers. And open the main.yaml file. And what in the handler, what I'll do, I'll just move this Apache task, restart task inside the handlers. So I've given you the condition. So this task of restarting Apache, this, whether it started or not, I'll have this part added to my handlers. I'll have this added as restarted. Okay, if whenever there's a change in the configuration, I want this service to be Apache service, let's name it as restart. Okay, makes sense. This is the task which I've added in the handler. Now how my YAML will know, the task will know that there is a handler which I need to execute, which needs to be triggered. So what is the condition? Whenever there is a config change, I'm just copying this handler name. This is the exact name you will be using inside your task now. Okay, now whenever there is a config change, okay, I want the Apache service to be restarted. That is what my condition is. So how my task will come to know there is a change in config. So this is how I'll come to the config section, and over here there is a term called notify. So whenever there is a change in this particular task, it will notify my handler, and my handler will run that particular task. So this, whenever this section is getting executed, whenever there is a change in config, my handler will get notified, and this particular whatever task I have mentioned inside my handler will get triggered automatically. So what did I mention? I've just mentioned to restart my Apache service. That's a trigger which we have mentioned. Okay, perfect, looks good. And make sure this naming convention, whatever name you have given for the handler, is the same name used over here. Any typo, any uppercase, lowercase you do, the handler will not get executed. Make that. Perfect. So let's come back now. What else I can define? What else? So I have defined handlers, I have defined task, I have defined variables, metadata information. If you want to put in, guys, you can put in the metadata information, like who has created this and things like that. Okay, who is the author, what is the version, and things like that. If you want to have any metadata information, then you can go and do this. For now, that's it for me. Now let's go and let me show you how do we utilize this role, how do we execute this role. Now for executing this role, you need to write a playbook. I can name it as Apache role.yaml. So this is a playbook I'm creating. This playbook will have information such as host. It will not have much information, it will only have host information. And in this host, I'll just mention as local host over here, because I got web server also, but I'll just stick with localhost for now. I'll give privilege, escalated privilege, so that things can be defined. Now this is the place where I'll be defining my roles. I can have list of roles defined over here, but I just want to execute one role. List of roles, like for setting up web server you have one role, for setting up DB server you have one role, for setting up middleware you have one role. So this way you can have list of roles defined. In my case, I just have one role. What is the name of my role? I forgot. Apache role, I believe. I'll have to verify that. I'll have to verify what is the role. Apache underscore role. Okay, Apache underscore role. So don't make this typo, guys. And my role is where it is there in my current directory itself. If you see, my role is there inside the same directory where my YAML file is created. So I got my role over here and I have my YAML file over here. Okay, let's go and run this again. How do you run it? Ansible playbook followed by the role YAML file. Perfect. This is how you will be executing your role. Let's go and see. Now I'm executing this on my local host. Now it's getting executed right now. Now, did you see the difference when we wrote the playbook? It was quite a big playbook, and we need to. It was very now when you're writing a complex playbook, just imagine you have a web server, middleware server, your SQL DB. Your playbook will be very huge. So it's always better, and it's always a good practice to use Ansible role, so that your playbook is organized, your variables are organized. You can have handlers and things like that added, and then you can so you have a very proper format of proper structure of your playbook. Now this can be easily reused. You can share this with someone, whatever you want to do. So Ansible roles comes very handy. Definitely Ansible roles comes later in the stage when you're very comfortable writing playbooks. You know how the playbook works, you know how the Ansible Ad-hoc command works. Then this roles comes in picture, not at the very beginning, guys. That's why this is added at the very end of my web series. So keep that in mind. Now if you see this, the handler was also executed. The reason is because there was a change in config. Now if I just do a curl on my local host, I can see my web page. Okay, welcome to DevOps Mela, learning variables. I can go and check it on the browser also. I can find the same thing over there. Okay, now let me show you if the handler is really working or not. Now I'm not making any changes into the configuration. Last time when you see last time the handler was executed, running handler. Now let me just execute this command, run this playbook again, and let's see if the handler is running now, because there is no change in configuration now. So eventually the handler should not run. Now if you see, there's nothing called handler over here. Now what I'll do, I'll make a changes to my index.file. I'll remove this part, this learning variables, and I'll just go and run the playbook again. Now there is a change in my configuration. When there's a change in my configuration, my handler should get triggered. Let's see if it's happening or not. Perfect. You see this? There was a change. This is how handler works. Now let's do a curl localhost. Welcome to DevOps Mela. So this is all about Ansible roles, guys. In the next video, I'm thinking of integrating Azure DevOps with Ansible and show you how exactly all this gets integrated and how you can automate this entire process with Azure DevOps. Let me know in the comment section if you want that part to be covered. Then I'll go and I'll make videos on that and I'll cover that part also. In the meanwhile, Ansible Galaxy, there is a separate website. There are so many roles already created by others. Okay, so this is the custom role which I have created, but if you go to this community, Ansible has a very big community and there are so many roles already created which you can just pull and start using it. Like for example, if I go to web and if I look for any web server package like Nginx, you will see n number of roles. If you see this, the role is already there. It's created by someone. If you want, you can just pull this role inside your local system. See, this is how you will be using this role, and you can create a playbook and use this role and launch Nginx web server. So they might have done some configuration changes to Nginx. Better to go and look what configuration changes they have done, whether you can use it in your production or not. Okay, this is done by community. People like you and me have created roles and uploaded in Ansible Galaxy. Use it wisely. Okay, make sure, it's always recommended if you're doing anything on production, create your own custom role. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you very much. See you in the next topic, that is integration of Ansible with Azure DevOps. Thank you very much. Bye. Hello, welcome to my channel DevOps Mela, and welcome to the Ansible web series. This is a continuation video, guys. In this video tutorial, we'll talk about how do we integrate Ansible with Azure DevOps. Okay, So if you want to automate running your playbooks, so Azure DevOps is the best tool by which you can integrate and you can run your playbooks. Okay, there are few prerequisite. The one prerequisite is setting up Ubuntu VM. In that VM you're setting up Ansible. So this is what we were doing till now. We already have a Ubuntu VM wherein we have set up Ansible. We have updated the inventory file, and if I go and run the ping command, I'm getting a ping from my local host basically. Okay, so this looks good. Just for your understanding, in my previous video I have installed Apache on my local host. That is something I have went ahead and removed it. So if you go and check on my local host if there's any Apache installed, so there's no Apache. So this is something I have already removed it, because I'll be installing it again, but this time I'll be installing it using a playbook. Okay, there are few prerequisites. The prerequisites are, you need to have you should have account on Azure DevOps. If you're new to Azure DevOps, please go on to dev.azure.com, sign in for free, create your organization. Mela DevOps is my organization, and this is the project which I have created. If you are new, guys, I do have a complete Azure DevOps series video. Please go and have a look on this. Okay, please check my playlist, and please check in the description box. You'll find the Azure DevOps series video. Please go and check how do we work with Azure DevOps, how do we create CI/CD pipelines with Azure DevOps. Everything is there inside that particular playlist. Please go and check. So one of the prerequisite, have an account on Azure DevOps and have an account on Azure Cloud. Once we are done with all the Ansible setup, if you are directly watching this video, guys, please go back and see how did we install Ansible, how did we set up inventory, and all those things in my previous video. Okay, let's come back. There are a few things more which we need to do. Firstly, we need to set up CLI on this particular machine, the Ansible server, basically the master node, and we need to log in. This is for authentication purpose. Okay, now let's go, and this is the command for setting up CLI, guys. I have already ran this command, and if you go and look into you will find the CLI is already installed, AZ version. So I got the CLI already installed. Now the next command is AZ login. Basically I'll just run this command, AZ login. I'll come to the same browser. My portal is where I'm logged in with portal, and I'll just put this link followed by the code over here. So let's go and put in this code as well. Once you're successfully logged in, you will get an output. So let me select my account. I got multiple accounts, so let me select the account. Perfect, you should get an output over here. Let's wait. Okay, perfect, this is what it is. I need this ID, so let me copy this ID and keep it on my local for now. Okay, now this command, basically, if you forgot to copy, then you can run this command, AZ account show. This will get you the same information, which if in any case if you have missed it. Okay, once you're done with this, we need to create a service principal, and basically this command will create the service principal for me. This is the name of my service principal, and I'm giving a role of a contributor, and the scope at the subscription level I'm creating. The scope is at the subscription level. Now what exactly is service principal, what is service principal, how you can create manual, and those things, everything is covered in my service principal service connection topic. Please check my Azure DevOps playlist. You will find all this information. I have a dedicated video on service principal. Okay, now let me go on, copy this command and put it in my, so this will basically go and create the service principal for me. Now let's wait while this service principal is getting created. This service principal will be visible in your Azure AD. You can view this service principal over there. Perfect. So these are the information. These are some sensitive information which is required. So I'll copy this part and I'll put it in my put it over here. Okay, I'll be using this information, that's why I'm copying this. Now post that, create this directory .azure, it's a hidden directory which we are creating, and create this file credentials. So we need this credential file in my VM. So let me have this vi followed by this, and I will need this information and entered in this particular file. Okay, so these are the things. I need a subscription ID. The subscription ID is right at the top where we have copied. Where did we copy the subscription ID? Okay, I can get the subscription ID from here also. This is a subscription ID. I'll need a client ID. The client ID is equals to app ID. So this is what the app ID. So this is all prerequisite, guys. So this is one-time activity which you need to perform when you're integrating your Ansible with Azure DevOps. Okay, secrets. And then it will require a tenant ID. Okay, that's it. So this is my cred file is got created. We have created the credential files. Okay, that's it. That is one part is done. We have installed Azure CLI on Ansible master server. We have set up AZ login. We have created a service principal. Now we have created a Azure credential. We have stored it in my Ansible server. Now second part is we need to have a private and public key created. Basically that key will be required for creating service connection. Now again, if you guys are new to the Azure DevOps world, this service connection and all service principle, these jargons may annoy you. So it's better to go and look into my Azure DevOps series. And if you don't want to watch this complete series, there are dedicated videos for service connection and service principle. Please do watch. Okay, now let's go and get this key created. So I'll just copy this command for now. This will basically create a key pair for me. I'll keep it in the default location. Do you want to enter passphrase? I'll keep it empty for now. Perfect. Now I have the private and public key created. If you want to see where exactly it is created, you can go to this drive. It's a hidden file, and if you see this, you will find the public and private key created. Okay, id_rs id_rs .pub. This is created. The next is we need to give 755 permission to this particular folder itself. Okay, next is we need to create a authorized keys. In case if you don't have this authorized keys created, create that particular file. Okay, and once created, again give a permission of 644 to that particular file. Okay, where I am right now, I'm inside the authorized key. No, I'm not. Okay, give this permission. Okay, once this is done, you can copy this particular ID to your local host. Okay, whatever steps I'm doing, guys, this is I'm setting up Ansible server, and then I'll be integrating, I'll create a service connection and I'll integrate this Ansible server with my Azure DevOps. Okay, so let me copy this key, copy ID. This is a command, copy ID. All these commands are given in my text in the notepad. I'll be sharing that with you guys, don't worry. So DevOps mailer at, I can keep the local host or I can give the loopback IP. Perfect. This is yes. Put in the password for the first time. Okay, now this is, I'm currently logged in. Now see, the key was added. So this was added to my local host. Now if I want, I can connect to my machine using this command also. I don't need to have user ID password, guys. If I want, I can connect to my machine. Now if you see where I am logged in, who am I? I'm logged in with DevOps mailer. Okay, now this is how you will be setting up things. Now I'll go back to my root. Okay, verified everything looks verified everything is looking good. I have all the prerequisite done: setting CLI, logging to Azure cloud, creating service principal, generating private and public key, changing the permissions, file permission. Now I have also copied the key to my local host so that I can log in through SSH. So there's no need of password now. I can directly log into SSH to my local host. Okay, now let's go back and copy a ID. Copy your private key. Now let me go to this SSH ID RSA. So this is basically a private key. This is very sensitive information, guys. You cannot share this information with anyone, and you need to keep this keys very secure in a key vault, not on the server. So keep that in mind. Okay, so this is the private key what we have. Now this private key, I'll be using this key to logging in onto my for connecting to my Azure DevOps. Now I'm inside my Azure DevOps. This is my project Mela DevOps. I'm using, this is my organization Mela DevOps, and this is the project which I will be using for this purpose. So the first thing is I need to go and create the service connection. So go to project settings, come to service connection, create new service connection. Over here look for SSH, go next, give a host name. So basically before host name, let me paste the private key over here. Host name will be your public IP of your Ansible server. Username, give a username, DevOps Mela. Password, let's pass in the password. Okay, come down, give a name to your service connection. I can give anything, Ansible SSH. Give a description, you can give description, grant all pipelines the permission, done. So the service connection is created, guys. This is how we create a service connection. The next part is running playbooks using pipelines. So there are two ways you can run pipelines, either classic or YAML. Both the ways are possible. If you want to run through classic, even that is possible to run your playbook. If you want to run through YAML, even that is possible. So in this video tutorial, we'll cover classic way. Do let me know in the comment if you want to even know how do we integrate with YAML. Okay, please do let me know in the comment box. So the first thing what is required for running is Ansible extension. Okay, so by default the Ansible extension is not installed on Azure DevOps. You have to go to the marketplace and click on browse marketplace and look for Ansible. Now this is the one which you need to install, guys, Ansible. Click on this. This will take you to get it free, and this will take you back to your organization basically, and you need to have owner access for doing all this, guys. You cannot install extension if you are just a user on your project. So you need to have owner access. If you're not the owner, the request will be sent to the owner, and the owner will be doing the needful for you. Now if you see this, the extension is already installed on this organization. So let's go back to organization. So I already have this extension. So if I go back to my organization settings, extension, you can see my Ansible extension right over here. Okay, so let's go back and let's have this DevSecOps again. Now I'll go to the pipeline. Before I go to the pipeline, I need the playbook in a repository. Okay, so what I can do, I can have a new repository created with the name Ansible. I'll name it as an Ansible Playbook to be very specific. And we have already created a playbook in my previous session, guys. Remember Apache playbook we have created? That is right over here. I'll be using the same playbook. Let me clone this repository on my local. If you're new to Git, I do have Git tutorial video, guys. Please check my playlist. Okay, now coming back, this is the folder. Now this is the file. I got the playbook and I got the index.html file created. Let me show you that once. This is the playbook basically. Okay, I need to change this. The web server, I don't have the web server group now. I have deleted that VM now. So I just have a local host, and on the web server we have already installed Apache, if you guys are following my complete tutorial series. So let me show you the host file once. In my host file, let's go up. This is what is already defined. Okay, so I'll be using this only. Now if you want to as I said earlier, if you want to do the same thing, exact same thing on a different VM, make sure there is a SSH connection established, and quickly run the check Ansible all -m ping and see if the ping pong is happening. And if everything looks good, you can have the IP address, replace it with your IP address or the domain name, replace it with the username, whatever user it is, and replace it with your password. So exact same thing, you can come and add it over here. Okay, nothing different. No, so this is the prerequisite. Whatever things we did, that was I was setting up Ansible server and I was setting up Ansible connection with Azure DevOps. Now if you want to add any host machine, you can simply come and add in the inventory file of your server. That's it, nothing else. Okay, coming back, these are the files. Let me copy, and this is my index.html file. Welcome to DevOps Mela. Please like, share and subscribe. Please do it if you like my videos. Okay, coming back, let me copy these files and put it in the Git repository over here. Perfect. Let's do a quick git add, or not a repository. Let me go inside the repository, Ansible Playbook. Let's do a git commit, added playbook. Now do a git push. So I got everything. I have the playbook, I have the index.html file in the same folder. Now if I come back, I should see those details over here. Okay, perfect. Now I think I should have one folder also created inside this. So let me have a folder, Ansible folder created, and put the playbooks inside it. This is not required, but this is the right way of doing, guys. Okay, let's do a git add again, git commit again, added folder. Let's do a git push again. Perfect. Refresh it. We have it. We have the folder. Inside the folder I got the YAML file, and inside that I got the index.html file also, keeping it everything in structure manner. So this is the right way of doing. Now I can execute this playbook from this section also. This is my build section. I can get this executed using YAML, or I can get this executed using a classic as well. So let's focus on release, because mostly we run Ansible task at the release side. Okay, so let's come to the release section and use this release section. So it's not an hard and fast tool. You can run wherever you want. I'm just following what exactly is getting followed in the world. Okay, but if you want me to create a YAML file for executing the playbook, even that is possible. I'll show you. Let's get this executed. I'll show you that even. Don't worry. Okay, let's go to the release pipeline. This is classic. I'll show you the YAML method also. Don't worry. Both the ways we'll do it. I'll name it as dev. Let's keep it manual for now. And over here I'll go and add the artifact. So I don't have a build pipeline, but I do have my files inside Azure repos. So I'll go and select this Azure repos. This is the project. The source is Ansible Playbook. The branch is main branch, and add. Now I'll just go and look for Ansible task. Ansible. Perfect. We got Ansible over here. So Ansible location, where is your Ansible? Is it your agent machine or remote machine? Agent is talking about this agent, guys. This agent. This is a self-hosted agent. Again, if you want to know what is self-hosted agent, what are these agent pools, what are the self-hosted agent, what is Azure pipelines, what is Microsoft hosted agent, all this is given in my Azure playlist. Go and look for agent job videos, or you can go and look for the complete Azure DevOps end-to-end video. Okay, same like Ansible, I have created Azure DevOps videos as well. Okay, please do check. Now for me, my Ansible is there on the server, it's over here. Okay, so I'll just select the remote machine, and all thanks to the SSH endpoint which we have created. So I'll select that. Now where is your playbook? Now playbook is there in my remote repository. Sorry, my playbook is there in my repository. It's not there on the Ansible machine. If I want, I can keep the playbook over here and get it executed also directly using pipeline. But for now, I have it on my repository. So I'll just go and select the folder. This folder. What is the name of your playbook? Apache.yaml, correct? That is the name. Let me verify once. This is the name you need to give. Apache.yaml. Let me copy and put this. Okay. Now where exactly is your inventory file located? Use default location. Default is basically it will go into etc Ansible host on the server, and it will get you it will read the inventory file from there. Or else if you have created any file, or else if you want to list the host, so you can put the IP address in over here as well. Or else if you want to pass in as a content, you can do that also. So in my case, I'll stick with use default inventory file. So that is the default location where I have created my inventory. Okay, I'll name this pipeline as Ansible release. I'll save this. Now my Ansible task is ready. I have the pipeline created. Now I can go and execute the pipeline. As I said, it will be creating Apache web server, and then it will be copying my index.html file to that web server. And this is all happening on the local host as of now. But if you want to do it on some dedicated other VM, you can do it. Make sure put in those VM IP address, username and the password in the inventory host file. Okay, keep that in mind. That's it. That is the only thing you need to do extra. Nothing else you need to do, guys. Okay, now let's go and create a new release, and let's execute our first Ansible playbook using Azure DevOps pipeline. Okay, if there's any error, we'll debug that, but let's see. Hopefully I should not get any error, but if there's any error, we'll try and debug that also. This may take time, guys, around couple of minutes. So let's pause this video over here, and let's come back once the deployment is successful or deployment is failed, whatever has happened. Or else let's wait and see what happens. You can see the logs in the log section. See, it is connecting and it started the playbook run. Apache installation, gathering facts, perfect. Local host, so the connection was good. Updating OS, perfect. Installing Apache now. Let's wait while the Apache is getting installed. Okay, let me pause this video. Okay, let's wait. So if you see, my playbook was completed. It took only 41 seconds. If you go inside this, it's very similar what we were doing manually from the command line. It's very similar. Config cockpit changed, Apache service started, installing Apache, updating OS, gathering facts. Now if you see this, total change okay, 5, change 3, unreachable, failed 0. So this was successfully deployed. How do we verify? I can go to my public IP of this local host and see if we have Apache. Welcome to DevOps Mela. Please like, share and subscribe. Perfect. This is how you will be integrating Azure DevOps with Ansible to run your playbooks. Again repeating, if you want to add some more host machine, just go and update the inventory file. That's it, nothing much you need to do. Okay, now as I mentioned that this was done using Classic. If you want to do it using YAML, I can do that even for you guys. Let's create a new pipeline. Let's have this inside my Ansible playbook. Let's have a starter pipeline created. Let's remove all this extra things not required. Let's remove all these steps. The only steps is required is Ansible step, guys. So I'll just go and put in Ansible. Okay, where is your Ansible location? This is a remote machine. Select your SSH. Where is your playbook? It's on agent basically. So this agent is right in this folder. So I'll have this folder copied this way, and I'll have this file name copied this way. Your inventory file, let's use default inventory file location. Make sure you're at the right place and add this task. That's it. You got the Ansible task added over here. Save it and run it. Nothing will happen because it's already installed, but this is how you can even execute playbooks using YAML. Now if you go and see in your repository, you will see new YAML file got created. A YAML file got created over here. This YAML file is doing the exact same thing what we did with Classic. Okay, so two ways I showed you how do we integrate Ansible. One is through YAML and one is through, two ways I showed you how to run your playbooks using Azure DevOps pipeline. One is through YAML and one is through Classic. So whichever way you like, please go and try it by yourself, and please do let me know if there's any issue. If you're getting stuck, you can reach out to me on devopsmailer@gmail. You can or visit to my website, that is devopsmailer.in, or you can just send me an email. I'll try, or put it in the comment box. I'll try my best to reply as soon as possible. Thank you very much guys from this Ansible series. And if you want to look if the pipeline was successful or not, see the pipeline is successful. Nothing much have happened because things are already done using Classic, but it's the same thing. If you go and see the logs, it's the same thing. Okay, that's it for me guys. Thank you very much for your time. Please put down your thoughts in the comment box, and if you like, dislike, if you want me to cover any other topics, please do suggest. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Bye bye.